Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Thumb on the Pulse. Sorry it's been a little bit of time since the last one. We're trying really hard to get Thumb on the Pulse delivered to you every single week. Last week my life was a little chaotic, so we had to postpone last week's. Good thing about that, not a lot of news happened between last week and this week. But we do have a lot to report to you, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. This week's bouts of gaming and streamer news. Y'all, this is all the information that got our hearts racing this week. I hope you guys enjoy listening to Thumb on the Pulse. Here we go. I had mentioned before, guys, welcome to Thumb on the Pulse. This is our news show that we try to do as often as we possibly can. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit all those buttons down below. It helps out all of the algorithms very, very much and helps us get the word out so we can spread the news as far as possible. With that being said, we're going to dive right into some company news, rather some developer news. Sometimes delivering this type of news is a lot of fun for me, especially in an instance like this, where a company thought they were going to be struggling and yet decided to report that they're no longer selling the company. Yes, folks, you've heard of them a million times, I'm sure. Bloober, the developer Bloober Team, is no longer for sale, where they had, after the last few games they had put out, Blair Witch and the game Observe, had considered maybe selling the company to a bigger investor or a bigger development team. They released the game most recently called The Medium, which has been just blowing games out of the water, has exceeded expectations by all the investors for the game, and the company came out with this statement saying, at this stage, it would be incompatible with the culture of this organization and would significantly limit the potential growth of the company's value in the coming years, especially taking into account the projects implemented and planned. The Bloober Team is currently rumored to be working on Observer 2, a sequel to their previous title, though wider hints that have been scattered all throughout the internet, from the studio to other smaller sources, have been kind of hinting at the fact that maybe this is the development company to take on the newest Silent Hill title. But thanks to its recent successes, Bloober reckons that it's not going to have any issues with spare cash to float around to invest in new and upcoming projects, especially since The Medium has done just absolutely wonderfully in sales for the company. So more games to come out from Bloober Developments. Hopefully a Silent Hill title, especially with how dark and creepy and ominous The Medium was. Maybe they'll be able to take Silent Hill and move it in a whole new direction. A whole new showcase came out recently that I missed entirely, but thanks to the work of my incredible and amazing researcher, I was going to say research team, but you guys know it's just Fox, right? On March 25th of this year, there was a showcase titled The Future Games Show. It's a spring showcase this time that featured a ton of different titles and a ton of different information, ranging from trailers to new gameplay to a couple release dates that were thrown out there. The Future Games Showcase, this is going to be the second or the third one that's been brought to us by the website Games Radar. I do want to point that out because Games Radar tends to be a lot of our source material when it comes to the news that we bring to you. They are now putting on a showcase, I think it's quarterly or maybe once a year, to showcase a bunch of new games, especially and specifically games that are coming out in the future. Some of the titles that they covered in the last one, and we're going to just rapid fire through this, were Shadow Tactics, Blades of Shogun, Hidden Deep, Glitch Punk, Life of Delta, Flying to the Finish, The Lord of the Rings Gollum, Arctic Awakening, Returnal, Chris Tales, Axiom Verge 2, Savior, Quantum Arrow of Bird and Cage, It Takes Two, Ember, Kathy Rain Director's Cup, Team 17, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and they mentioned Back for Blood. Lots of trailers like I had mentioned before with a ton of new gameplay, so if you guys want to see any of that information or any more information on some of the titles that I just mentioned, the link to all that is going to be right down below, so feel free to find that and click it. I've been watching a couple plays. Oh, how cute. We've got a little bit of information on that coming up. Age of Sigmar before, not video games, but the table. Ooh, sick, dude. See, more information on that, guys. We'll definitely check out the YouTube video when it comes out. I'll make sure that I include that link in the description down below. Couple specific titles that we wanted to talk about in regards to new games that are coming out. This one is called Outriders. Guys, Square Enix is pumping out a ton of great games, so keep a lookout for Square Enix specifically on all of the different platforms. Right now, we're going to discuss Outriders. This upcoming cooperative role-playing third-person video game is developed by People Can Fly, same company that did Gears of War Judgment and Bulletstorm. Published by Square Enix European subsidiary, Outriders was just recently released on April 1st of this year. Released cross-platform except for Switch on Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, as well as the Series X and S, and Stadia. Outriders is officially coming out to Xbox Game Pass on day one for all consoles, as well as their xCloud platform. This game has been touted and praised for combining brutal combat with deep RPG type systems. A lot of gamers seem to be really enjoying the potential that this game has, and even though it's just came out and been kind of greeted with some bugs and some glitches and some server crashes that a lot of people were upset about, so far the people that I've talked to and seen play this game seem to be really enjoying it. A new opportunity for you to try a new type of game right now, and potentially for free. Speaking of Square Enix and mentioning that they've got a lot of work to do and have been doing a lot of work this year, a new 3D mascot platformer by Square Enix has come out with some mixed reviews. It's a brand new, seemingly high-budget entry into the genre that feels like it comes straight out of 2001. Unfortunately, Balan Wonderworld feels a little bit like a period piece in many respects, only it's a new release and not a relic of 2 decades ago, with some stiff controls and some apparently less than interesting level designs and some other issues that have come out as the game was released. Kind of makes it feel like this game falls a little flat in some aspects. Apparently there is a big following for this game though, regardless of some of the less than stellar reviews that have come out. For such a pretty game, Balan Wonderworld does seem to have a lot of fixes that might be able to be updated in the future with some simple patches and bug work, but for now we're still on the fence on this one. Square Enix has a tough time putting out a bad game, so I'll have to play it myself before I make a definitive statement. A new announcement in the world of Rocket League, and good news for Epic. Rocket League Sideswipe is the new Rocket League mobile game that is releasing shortly. It will be a free-to-play Rocket League mobile game. Sideswipe puts the cars into what they're calling an equal playing field of sort of just an X and Y axis that the players kind of have to stay on the whole time, so there's not a lot of three-dimensional movement. But the idea is to make the touchscreen controls more manageable for Rocket League, with the basic elements of Rocket League still in place. You still get the rocket power battle cars, the boost for your car, the ball's still there, and of course, lots and lots of goals! So if you guys are big Rocket League fans and are itching to play it on the go, check out Rocket League Sideswipe if you get a chance. Another fun game, we know that our researcher Foxfire has to bring us, the weirdest gaming titles that are coming out as soon as possible. Again, later this year, I believe it's slated for summer of 2021, the Lawn Mowing Simulator is coming out. The simulator developed by Skyhook Games. The Lawn Mowing Simulator was announced earlier this week during the ID at Xbox Showcase, and it's everything you'd expect out of a lawn mowing simulator and maybe a little bit more. You're not just mowing lawns in the lawn mowing simulator, you're actually building businesses and creating contracts to continually perpetuate this lawn mowing conglomerate that you're trying to build. You'll complete a variety of contracts to advance your mowing capabilities with several attachments that are allowed to be put on your mower, including stripe rollers, mulching kits, grass collectors, and more things. You're going to need those types of add-ons to unlock different locations that you get to mow. As simple as somebody's backyard and the neighbors around you, all the way to lavish lawns like Yankee Stadium. You'll also need to build your own lawn care business like I'd mentioned before by upgrading the headquarters, hiring employees, buying advertisement slots, and so much more in regards to the business simulation aspect. If you're interested, this is going to be available on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and Windows, I believe. Summer 2021, like I was mentioning. Y'all know that you're dying to mow lawns not only in real life, but in the digital world, so get it now. We had mentioned this game a little bit earlier, so I'm kind of excited to be talking about it now. It Takes Two. We had seen this game showcased in one of the showcases we had watched previously last year. This game is a co-op game that's very unique in the aspect that the company intends on giving away a free title for every copy it sells in order to promote the true co-op nature of this game. To describe the game a little bit, It Takes Two is a genre-bending co-op experience which sees players take control of Cody and May. It's a couple on the verge of divorce. After their daughter inadvertently turns them into dolls using an eccentric talking self-help book, they have to work together at this point to remember why they fell in love in the first place. Now again, I had mentioned the idea behind this game is truly to go through the game in a co-op experience, playing this game with somebody else in order to help you build a solid relationship with that person. It's supposed to touch base on a lot of actual like relationship building topics and points. In order to play the game now, there is a free demo of the first level available through the website that we'll link down below. It's the game and developer's own website. You have to download this piece of software called the Friends Pass, and what this lets you do is download the game, and with that single copy of the game, play with a friend. Basically, from my understanding, is the software reads that there is a valid copy available and allows a friend at a different location or at a different console to play the game with you without buying their own copy. This will hold true, this Friends Pass, once you purchase an actual copy of the game. That way your friends don't. Ultimately, just a really great idea for video games, a really interesting business move from Hazelight Studios, the company that's behind this game, as well as games like A Way Out and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. We'll see if it pans out for them and really gets the name of this game out there. I think it will. I'm super interested in trying it. All right, this next segment is quickly becoming, I think I even said this last week, quickly becoming my favorite segment in the entire show, and that's our free game segment. Free games! Free games! Every week, we are going to be telling you guys about free games that are available for you to get or download now in order to make sure that none of us ever go without playing a game if we don't have to. Games spanning PlayStation, Xbox, PC. These are going to be a few titles that are available right now for free. For free! PlayStation Plus, at least for PS5 only at this point, Oddworld Soulstorm, which is a hard thing to say all at once, but for every other PlayStation platform out there, we've got Days Gone and Zombie Army 4 Dead War on PlayStation Plus. I think I said that already, but it's okay. Feel free to check those out if you own either of the Sony platforms. Play-at-home games that you can get now, and if they've expanded the amount of play-at-home games they offered from last time to 7 titles this time. Those titles include Subnautica, Abzu, Enter the Gungeon, Res Infinite, The Witness, Astrobot Rescue Mission, Moss, Thumper, and Paper Beast. Granted, a couple of those titles are for PlayStation VR. Also coming to Xbox Game Pass, games with gold, we have Vikings, Wolves of Midgard, Truck Racing Championship, Dark Void, and Hardcore Uprising. On Epic Games this month, we also have a new title called 3 out of 10 Season 2, available from April 5th to April 15th. Check back in the next news segment so we can see what's new after April 15th at Epic Game Store. One other one that I kind of left out of the coming to Xbox Game Pass that I wanted to mention real quick is this title. Coming to Xbox Game Pass as of April 20th of this year. Yes, that's release day. On day 1 of release, MLB The Show 2021 will be available for the first time on Xbox, specifically Xbox Game Pass. So if you already have Xbox Game Pass, you get a $60 to $70 game for your membership. The reason I want to mention this game is that MLB The Show has been exclusively a title for Sony consoles ever since 2006. Shoot, it's created by Sony Studios. The MLB and Sony has had an exclusive contract for the last 15 years to only release this game on Sony PlayStations. The reason that's so significant is compared to any other baseball title that's existed over the last 15 years, this is the only one that really matters. Amongst all baseball fans and sports fans in general, MLB The Show has by far been the superior baseball title for almost 2 decades at this point. However, according to Sony, a quote from PlayStation specifically that just came out within the last couple days says that the MLB specifically decided to bring the franchise to more players and baseball fans. This decision provides a unique opportunity to further establish the Major League Baseball The Show as the premier brand for baseball video games. Not to mention that Major League Baseball over the last 5 to 10 years have suffered in viewership and ratings, has become one of the least watched sports in America, going from America's game to one of the least watched sports. This is a big move for the MLB to make in order to try to revitalize the MLB brand in the United States. Good news is this game will be completely cross-platform and cross-progress. So if you want to try to play the game on Xbox but already intend on buying it for PS5, you can do cross-progress, and we'll be able to play with all of our friends on Sony if we decide to play on Xbox. So that's another benefit to broadening the horizons on this game, as so many more players are going to get their hands on it. So I think it's a really good move for the MLB. I think it's a really good move for Microsoft. We'll see if it's a really good move for Sony. The idea for Sony is that they still make this game, they still own the rights to this game, and they theoretically should be selling more copies to Game Pass. Now, granted, people will be able to buy the game individually. Also, they got to have had some sort of giant chunk of change crossed over when they sold the game to Game Pass in order to give out that many copies, right? I'm not exactly sure how the contracts work with Game Pass and single titles, so more information, more research for us to do. Last bit of news that we have to deliver to you guys, and it's not necessarily the best of news, but still, news nonetheless. Back 4 Blood, a game that we had access to the alpha, what was that, 3-4 months ago, maybe back in October? Created by the same essential team that made Left 4 Dead 2, Back 4 Blood is created by Turtle Rock Studios, and the alpha that we played blew our minds. It was super smooth for an alpha, even though it was the same couple levels over and over again. Me and I think it was Morbid Corpsey and our friend Coleslaw, we just couldn't stop playing it. It was such a great game. I absolutely cannot wait for its release, which brings us to the news. This game was slated to release on June 22nd of this year. Couldn't tell you how excited I was to pre-order it, maybe play some betas, things like that, but the news that we bring you today is that it has been pushed back. Utilizing verbiage unfortunately familiar to us with all these pushbacks that we've seen recently in Cyberpunk 2077 and now the pushback for Halo Infinite, Back 4 Blood seems to be following the same trend. Releasing this statement, Turtle Rock Studios is working hard to make Back 4 Blood the best game it can possibly be. We've heard that before, at launch, and the team needs more time to do this. Therefore, we will release Back 4 Blood on October 12th of 2021. We thank our community for its continued support and are excited to share that there will be an open beta this summer. So, one thing that I was a little nervous about beforehand was the fact that we were maybe going to be releasing the game without any sort of open beta beforehand, jumping straight from the alpha into the release. I was very nervous that this might go the way of Cyberpunk 2077. However, I still truly believe that the studio's doing right by us as the consumers and making sure they release a decent game. And hopefully with the beta, we can all get our hands on that again, do some testing, kill some zombies, and hang out together in what should be, or should have been, Left 4 Dead 3. Back 4 Blood, coming out October 12th, 2021. Please buy it so I can play with you. I loved this game. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Thumb on the Pulse. We just delivered to you all of the news that we could come up with over the last couple weeks. We found this stuff by putting our thumb on the pulse, so I hope you guys enjoyed the time we spent together here today. If you have any comments you'd like to leave, please do that down below. Feel free to hit that like and the subscribe button, maybe even the little alert bell to get information and alerts to where we post new videos on our YouTube channel. Thank you again for being here, guys. I love doing the news every single week for you, and I can't wait to see you guys next week when we get to do it all over again. More free games next week, more news next week, more thumb on the pulse next week. We'll see you next time, guys. My lips are so thin, but so red. And I'm so pasty. I'm just a pasty boy, y'all. This bad game sounds terrible. This game blew my mind.